We're back! Holy! That's right! We're back! Konnichiwa, bitches! I am Andesian, back finally once again. Along with me, as always, are the dulcet tones of yours truly, Dr. Manhattan. Good evening, sir.
Number one, dulcet tones?
I said tones.
Didn't sound like it.
I had a voice crack, okay?
Number two, did you seriously just infringe your own gimmick?
Yes, I did. Because we have nothing to shtick but shtick itself here on the Not a Network, and by God damn it, have I missed shticking some shtick. No, management is responsible for this gimmick infringement because I am the management.
Why do you think I put that up there? And I was going to say something, but I'm going to save it for Sunday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh, there were adventures.
There were adventures. Oh, yeah, there were adventures. All right, buddy. Unfortunately, my adventures did not end up as well as yours may or may not have. But
they ended up swimmingly.
We'll talk about that on Sunday, I'm sure. For right now, though, we're back. We're late as all hell, but when has the Not a Network ever been known to be on time?
I mean, the fact that this is one of the earliest in terms of times of day podcasts that we've done in
a considerable amount of time, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been at least several months.
Well, sit down, strap in, buckle up. It's a doubleheader of parallel convergence here tonight.
Wait, did you say strap? Never mind.
Family! Wait, I can't say this is a family show. We used to be called League to the Max or whatever and had regular whatever segments that truly went down off deeper ends than point of viewer have gone sometimes. I can't say this is a family show. I'm not allowed. My blackness does not permit me to make that statement. I really need to get that as a clip. Thank you, Dave Chappelle. So, again, we do have the doubleheader tonight. First up, if you are watching, we are talking about everything not Worlds. In fact, we are so anti-Worlds here. We're gonna go back to our normal background, the LCS logo. If you want the World's news and the semifinal wrap up and the finals preview, you'll have to stay tuned as that will be available next over most of these same Not a Network outlets. But we've got a decent menu of topics to talk about this evening, Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, we were going over everything pre-show, and I may or may not have paid attention to a few things that came across the Twitter feed, and oh my.
Are you saying that it is time to check the tweets?
You know what? You know what? I think I am.
Und also E-Mails.
And also emails.
You know, I swear to fuck, that has been in and out of my head the last 2 weeks. Seriously.
Greg Ferguson has that effect on people, man.
Yes, he does. He's had that since he was on the Drew Carey show.
Carey, you're fine. At least he didn't get Vince McMahon fired.
Yes!
Any way for me to work in a gag, man. And I just realized that's a...
You know what? I have to do this. I have to do this.
Hey, Fraser!
Well, I did open the show on Konnichiwa, bitches. I mean, we could just go ahead and call this Point of Andesian. Jesus Christ. Anyways, so do you have a tweet that you would like to share, or where are we going with the oh God almighty. We need something that works. Point of Andesian doesn't work. It works for you because it's a good pun. We need a pun on Andesian.
You're the one that picked a name that isn't too very punny.
I mean, you could work off of Andy. But anyways, the tweets. Andy hour. I mean, that could work. Well, I kind of like it. Welcome to the Andy hour. Yeah, welcome to the Andy hour. I'm Andesian. That's Dr. Manhattan. And, well, right now I'm currently having flashbacks in my head to League to the Max or whatever.
Now I have to go back and actually pull up the tweet.
It's good to be back.
Yes, it is.
Week has not been fun for multiple reasons.
I mean,
I do not recommend the flu.
Well, again, it wasn't necessarily fun for you for reasons, but...
Yes, I know. I'm going to have to hear all of the fucking details on Sunday because we're on Twitter, and now Elon Musk is in charge. All the content moderation windows or rules went out the window because he's already fired half of Twitter.
Yes. So, we may or may not be planning a special live show at some point celebrating Elon Musk in his purchase of Twitter. If that's the case, I need to contact some people.
Yeah, I got thoughts on that. We'll be talking about on Sunday. Trust me.
Damn it! Now I can't find it because it was buried in everything else. Because it was about the different changes that G2 were making, Broken Blade, this and that.
Oh yeah, the Wonder and the Broken Blade situation. I saw that. Well, while you find that, our big news that was announced today, and is already causing issues. Because, of course, when does Riot do something and it doesn't immediately cause issues?
I'm sorry. So this is what you were talking about.
I mean, I've talked about a few things, but yeah, just a big one.
Yeah, because when you had mentioned one of the key words in this headline, and this is what I was saying about, certain things in sponsorship, because I see right at the end.
World Championship opening ceremony presented by MasterCard.
Yep.
Thank you, MasterCard. As if holding the semifinals in the State Farm Arena wasn't chill enough. Riot, we have nothing to shill but shill itself.
I mean,
Please direct all hate mail to @HEB the Eagle or HEBtheeagle@yahoo.com. Management not responsible for this shilling. So, Riot has been doing this thing for some time now where they allow creators, content creators, not that kind of content creators, get your head out of the gutter for 5 minutes, to
I wasn't even going to say anything until you said that.
see what I got to deal with, folks, and I wouldn't trade this in for anything in the world.
Look, it's not my fault they're making OnlyFans for everything.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're really not wrong. So Riot has had this thing for a while now. Honestly, I don't remember what the fuck they call it. Something along the lines of creator program. I don't know. But basically, they allow you to co-stream the LCS, right? Like live as it happens. You can stream it to your own Twitch channel, add commentary, whatever. There's some rules you have to go by. One of the biggest ones is you're not allowed to disparage Riot, the orgs, the sponsors, so on and so forth.
So basically, the typical 2/3/ who knows how many rules for point of viewer, plus you have to toe the company line.
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
It's got to be family friendly. You have to follow the streaming rules for your platform. You got to toe the company line. You have to disclose any and all sponsorships or any like personal sponsorships or anything like that. I don't think you're allowed to run your monetization during the streams. I'm not 100% sure on that. I remember hearing that at one point in time when the thing first started, but I could be wrong. But anyways, there are some people out there that put out some genuinely very good content on Worlds. One of the channels that's come to mind is Double Lift. Well, Double Lift, Sneaky, Medios, Jensen. Like, there's this group of North American guys, mostly Double Lift, Sneaky, Medios, that have all been getting together. They've been watching Worlds and they've been talking. They talk about some bullshit during the games, right? But they will, put live commentary in, talk about the game, so on and so forth. there are people who would watch League of Legends and watch esports, but they want to watch it through their preferred personality of choice, and they don't want to be forced to watch the Riot personalities, which is perfectly fine because not everybody enjoys all of the Riot personalities. And there are definitely personalities out there. And I'm not saying that is a good or a bad thing, but maybe people don't like Freak's constant over the top puns. Maybe not constant and over the top, but sometimes he gets that way, and some people may not like that.
Yeah, we deal with that with one of our hosts here at the network.
Like, they're whatever the reason, and I'm not saying not to call Freak out. Freak, I love you. But there's people that they want to take in the content through somebody that they prefer to take the content in through. Riot has said, yeah, we're going to do something we've never ever done before. We're going to allow 5 people, and only 5 people, access to co-stream finals, which is something Riot never ever does because precious stream numbers and directed ad revenue and so on and so forth.
Yeah, all about, if it don't make money, it don't make sense.
Well, they have decided that they're going to have 5 people have co-streaming rights, and they will be doing their own streams, apparently from the Chase Center, live during finals. Now, the one person on this list who I feel bad for getting caught up in all of this is Ibai. Ibai 100%, 1000% deserves to be on this list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as a lot of the community have stated, this should have gone to people who have worked their ass off, know the game, have the viewership numbers, like veterans, right? Ibai is a former caster in Latin America for broadcast. He has since left. He now owns his own org, but is a big... He is Faker in Latin America what Faker is in Korea.
Ah, gotcha. All right.
Like, legitimately on national celebrity status, even people that don't know anything about League of Legends know who Ibai is. Saikuno is... The best way to put it is Saikuno is League adjacent. He's not very good at League. In fact, I believe he's gold. And a lot of what a lot of people are saying this comes down to, and I see what Riot is doing here, Saikuno is very heavily Valorant based.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 things that instantly pop into my head. One, Riot is slowly trying to either sunset League or capitalize on the Valorant base that don't know about League and get them over to League, because League is still the cash cow. Valorant might be up there, but League is still and always going to dominate on skin sales and champion sales and just RP in general.
I'm sorry. What did you just say? Did I hear those words come out of your mouth knowing that you gave me shit and told me the take that I had for Riot and their strategy with Valorant when we talked about the schedule change being out of left field? But did I hear you correctly? I don't have the fancy Sony headphones, but I do have Sony headphones, so I want to make sure I heard you right.
Well, given that news, yeah, it makes sense that this is a move that Riot is making. I'm taking into effect the totality of the circumstances.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I ain't out in left field now, am I, you son of a bitch?
I just got some of the bitched. I never get some of the bitched. It's going to be one of them kind of shows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do not underestimate the deep takes and cuts of Dr. Manhattan, good sir.
Apparently, Dr. Manhattan was sharpening his knives while I was away.
Well, you know, you have some extra kitchen utensils and other things, doing a lot of cooking, as it were.
Oh, I know what you were doing a lot of cooking of, buddy boy. Talk about that on Sunday.
Not the ideal recipe I would have liked, but you take what you can get.
Anyways, Saikuno has gotten a lot of flack on Twitter. Half of it, I think, might be deservedly. The other half is kind of just a little too far. I understand what Riot is going for here. Saikuno's streams are more women leaning, right? Valorant's player base is reportedly 40% women, where League's player base is reportedly 10 to 15% women. This is flat out a maneuver from Riot to capitalize on the Valorant player base, and specifically the female Valorant player base, and get them into League of Legends. The problem is it's going to fall flat because the new player experience for League of Legends is still miles away from where it needs to be to have a thriving game where you can bring new people in. The new player experience is still entirely way too toxic from people that got banned or people who are just making new accounts for the shit of it because they want to do some, iron to challenger, iron to diamond, whatever bullshit, social media YouTube trend they want to do. That a legitimate, genuine new player is going to get chased out or discouraged by toxicity and by bots. Because if you don't run into bots that are leveling accounts to be resold on these gray market websites, because Riot knows about them, but it's too much for Riot to really go after them to shut them down until they become too problematic. So Riot kind of turns the blind eye to them. So they're basically gray markets. It's like, yeah, we know about it. If we can prove that you bought an account, hell yeah, we're going to ban you because we don't care and you shouldn't have done it. But we're going to go after the individual and not the bigger problem as is. Because it's easier for us to ban the accounts as they get bought rather than to actually go after the sites that sell the accounts.
Gee, I wonder where they got that idea of a policy from. One can only wonder.
World of Warcraft!
That wasn't where I was going. I was thinking bigger, but that works too.
That's like the biggest of all time, sir.
The government.
Equal.
Yeah.
No. Equal.
Yeah, but what I was saying with all of...
No, I get what you're saying. I'm saying that's equal footing. The comparison is equal.
Yeah.
Because World of Warcraft botting, especially in its prime, was up there.
Yeah, well...
We'll put it that way. Hell, it's still popular today. There are people who legitimately make their money off of grinding WoW for 16, 20 hours a day, sell the gold on the auction house to get a WoW token, and then sell the WoW token for actual cash.
Well, I mean, it's only in some ways destructive, not as the little war on drugs. Ooh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, we'll talk about that on Sunday on Point of Viewer because that's not part of the Randy Andy hour. Do you think I forgot about that quick? Yeah, bitch. I can't do your summon a bitch. It doesn't work for me. I have to do the Buford T. Justice. You some bitch! You gonna wait to your grave for that? Now put the evidence in the car. But Dad, Junior, I said put the evidence in the car. And if you don't understand that reference, that's perfectly okay. It just means you're not old enough. Enjoy your youth.
While you have it.
Although I will admit they don't make movies like that anymore.
Yeah, because everything is, superhero franchise or another Fast and the Furious.
You some bitch, you gonna go to your grave for that. Anyways, so Saikuno has actually responded to the backlash. Excuse me. And I gotta say, there are a lot of people that are coming out saying shit about this maneuver from LOL Esports, right? Michaela, who is Tyler One's partner, right, put out a very scathing tweet as we actually finally check some tweets.
Because I did find the tweet that I was mentioning earlier for when you're finished.
But yeah, for those of you audio, the tweet says hiring Sakuno is honestly super disappointing and disrespectful to the people who primarily stream League on a daily basis. I get your goal is viewership and potentiality. That's definitely not the right word for that. Expanding your audience, but you already have Lil Nas for that. Pretty odd choices in general.
Yeah, I think meant potentially instead
Yeah,
of potentiality.
that's where you would put the little SIC there,
No, because potentiality is technically spelled correct, but it's the wrong word.
Yes, which is why you would put the little SIC next to it, said in context.
Today I learned finally what the fuck that meant. Seriously.
You realize I'm going to have to hold this against you on Sunday, and we're going to talk about this now, right?
Yes. Hell, I'll even add it to the private thread.
Because how the fuck do you work for one of the places that you worked for and not know what the hell that meant?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know the history about the place that I worked for?
Okay.
And even the other place that I worked for. Yeah. I didn't necessarily get that in depth.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I've always it's technically not actually said in context or spelled in context. It's actually a Latin abbreviation for sic erat scriptum, which in
As
English
it was
translates
written.
with, yes, thus was it written. But
See,
it's
I
one of
know
those,
my Latin. Thank you, mathematics.
but it is a backronym for the term.
Hard to believe backronyms are still a thing outside of the space industry.
I mean, there are some somewhat common ones, yeah. But we'll talk more about that on Sunday. I mean, you could go through the tweet, right? And we have the tweet here. I mean, you could see the people all over the place. Like, okay, maybe not e-buy. But, like, a lot of people saying, what the fuck? Why are y'all doing this? Why is it these people? Again, I feel bad that eBay has to get lumped into this, and a lot of people have even said, hey, this isn't an eBay. eBay is great. But Riot definitely. There's a tweet here, or there was a tweet when I read this way earlier this morning, and I really hope I can find it because it pretty much sums this up like perfectly. And it pretty much comes down to, I get that it's for expanding viewership purposes, but it's still not any less of a slap into the face of the people who do this day in and day out. And Riot is going to rightfully need to face the community backlash for doing so.
Uh-huh.
Even though they know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it, it's still going to cause the community backlash nightmare, which it has. And it is indeed a slap to the face for these people who have been doing this shit for years, day in, day out. And not people like Saikudo who maybe they built a community off of League, but they sure as hell have abandoned League.
Yeah. Yet I was in left field.
Again, I don't think you're in left field on the Valorant stuff. I think this is even for the available streamers that are out there, I think Saikudo is kind of there are better options. Put it that way.
I completely agree, but in looking at the totality, as you said, albeit with a small sample size in decisions that are being made, let's come back in, say, 2 years' time and circle back to see where we are and compare this moment.
Like I said, I wish I could find the tweet because it was honestly really well written, and I remember the point, which is how I was able to paraphrase it there. But like I said, Riot are going for audiences that wouldn't tune into Worlds otherwise. And I think the way that Riot figures it is if they give it to somebody like, Medio Sneaky, Double Lift, I Will Dominate, LS, so on and so forth. those people are going to watch finals regardless. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
I think, and what Riot should have done. Okay, sure. Let's give it to Saikuno, right? But let's get him paired up with somebody in Riot's creator program, somebody who does do this day in and day out with a good, maybe not like, and again, yes, this is going to be a slap in the face. Maybe not a lift the sneaky Immedios and I will dominate, etc. Right? But maybe we get them with a smaller but partnered Twitch streamer that's higher ranking, right? And that's the key. You need somebody higher ranking that has that broadcast experience. I'm not talking like, LOE sports broadcast experience, but, somebody who streams, right? Say, hey, we'll give you co-streaming rights. We'll give you a nice fat paycheck. You explain the game to new players while everybody tunes in for him because he's the personality. That would at least work better than what they're doing right now, because unless Riot is actually going to revive their new player experience that they have not done since 2015, 2016 Worlds ?
See, sweet jeebus.
That was a one-off? Or ended up being a one-off because they haven't done it since? Then I see this going real bad real quick. And I don't think this is going to draw in the amount of viewers that Riot thinks it will. Like, honestly, straight up, that's the way I see it. Cue the Steve Harvey music. I need to get that music. I need to find that music so we could do that as a bit. The Judge Steve Harvey music that, his theme song that plays when he does his verdict and he goes, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because the closest thing that we have here is this.
Yeah.
But
give me a second.
So while the producer is producing things, as I had mentioned earlier, when I actually couldn't find the tweet, here it is.
Oh no, I'm still here, but that's a parody account.
Whatever.
That's not even real. That's That's Evil Wooloo. That's the parody account.
Look, how am I supposed to know these things? I'm busy working on.
That's why you gotta ask me, man. You know how much credibility we just lost?
We had credibility to begin with?
Okay, fair. Actually, I think we had a little bit of credibility. But
I mean, it's like a penalty at the 1 yard line. You move it half the distance to the goal. What does that mean? 18 inches if you're lucky?
How do you even measure 18 minutes? Or 18 minutes, yeah. That's how long you went on Monday or over the weekend or whatever the hell it was. I mean, we're talking about that on Point of Viewer. And she was impressed by the 18 inches.
Well, I mean, you're not.
No double rib shot. Come on. I was going for the double rib shot. It doesn't work if I have to ask for it.
Well, that's because I was in the middle of saying, you weren't exactly wrong. There were agreements made in certain things going back to our infamous lists. Not to mention, I was also thinking of a double rim shot joke while you said that, so.
Okay. All right. I don't feel as bad.
It's just...
I rushed the finish. You could say I finished early.
Hey, phrase it!
So, going on to our next topic here. Where the hell did it go? So, we have a very famous clip that we have graciously repatriated from the St. Louis Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go to that clip real quick because it's actually going to be relevant to our next topic.
And I have to say, their 1966 reverse retro sweaters that they're going to be breaking out this season, chef's kiss. Only second to my Florida Panthers.
You got 4 seconds, buddy.
I'm sorry. Do you want to go ahead and reveal to the world the trash that y'all wore back in 97?
The trash? Excuse me?
I mean, hell.
Excuse me?
ESPN ranked it dead last, and they kind of went ham on some of them, so...
Excuse me? Wait a minute. Did ESPN really rank the Tampa Bay sweater dead last?
And specifically for the reverse retro jerseys that are going to be used by every team this year, yes, Panthers came in at number 1, Tampa Bay Lightning dead last.
So we have this, because I know I made this.
Yes.
Where the hell is our BWSR segment?
You mean the,
We have the mini... Or we had the mini POV segment, but I see that got deleted. Unless it's in a different folder. No, I got deleted.
I think because... Is there a limit to how many we can make?
No, there shouldn't be.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's why, because it's in POV.
Yeah.
We never made one for parallel convergence.
No, we did not.
Well, we probably are making one right now. Oh, you beat me to it. To hell with you, ESPN, because I saw a fan ranking where they had the Lightning jersey at, I think it was 8?
Specifically the reverse retro jerseys.
Yes, specifically the reverse retro jerseys. They ranked all the teams. I'll have to find a YouTube video.
Who the hell did that?
The guy, I don't know. The guy did a fan thing and he put it up against his own personal opinions. And the Lightning were pretty up there. I like the reverse retro jersey. Honestly. I would get one of the reverse retro sweaters.
Oh, I definitely get one of the Panthers reverse retro sweaters. Oh, with that,
especially with it being one of the first Lightning sweaters I'd have. What I'd love is the old 2000 sweaters.
The 2000 ones weren't bad. You were
like that
out of
01 to 05, I think is what it was.
Yeah, yeah, right after you had moved out of the what was then the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Like the ones that they were wearing right before I got into hockey seriously. But more on that on a different show. Um, the reason why we bring up the blues clip of them playing of them playing parallel convergence of them playing Star Walkin' is Riot has actually I wouldn't say released a statement, but there was an interview, I guess you could say. Um, Riot hopes to bring its music to live events outside of esports.
Hmm.
According to Bob DeBellina, artist and creative partnerships manager at Riot Games Music.
What the fuck kind of name is that?
It could be DeBellina, I don't know.
What?
Or DeBellina.
What's it? My God, that sounds like a damn Grand Theft Auto NPC.
He says, it feels like there's a very big opportunity to bring our music to life for players in ways that aren't necessarily tied to esports events in the future. He then listed a few of the creative productions that Riot worked on in the past few years that might be eligible for a live event, including DJ Sona, Pentakill, Seraphine, and of course KDA. As you know, Riot's music department is propping up Riot Games. I mean, Riot's music department is seriously a big contender in the music space. They started in 2014 with their first music video specifically linked to a champion, which was Jinx, which has claimed overwhelmingly huge success. Only a year later, they staged the opening ceremony with Imagine Dragons, which was the first ever World's Anthem. Now there's free downloadable music albums. They have several virtual bands like True Damage, KDA, Pentakill, so on and so forth. Obviously, they have the champion themes, they have the event themes. This event themes sound pretty badass. I mean, hell, 2015 is probably my second favorite behind last year's. Obviously, they've got the esports anthems, like, they've produced Burn It All Down with Pivers. They've collaborated with Zed, Imagine Dragons, now Lil Nas X. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? They've got the anime, the Arcane soundtrack. I mean, and the thing is the style of music is all over the place too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have KDA, which is like K-pop, right? K-pop / mainstream pop. Maybe kind of a, techno electro pop type of thing. You've got Pentakill on a total other, side of the dimension, which is like, this, metal rock-ish band, right? Like that heavier sound. A lot of champion themes are very much in a classical sense, like a classical orchestral style. But I mean, I would not be surprised at all whatsoever. Maybe, and obviously, let's be realistic here. I don't entirely think that Star Walkin', played by the blues organist, is entirely above the board. But it wouldn't surprise me to see actual above the board performances of Worlds tracks or Riot Music owned content in general being used outside of the Riot ecosystem and Riot esports scene in the future.
I mean, if you think about it, with the feasibility and the resources of their industry as a whole, and with their approach to going out into mass media, like having everything on Spotify and all this and that, it's pretty much a good time to strike. I mean, now more than ever, when you have the various international genre of music making it in the US, on top of things like, oh, I don't know what Taylor Swift just achieved, Riot can get their piece of the pie pretty easily.
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't listened to any of the new songs yet, but
It's typical Taylor Swift, but you know the Swifties. I mean, yeah.
I mean, one of my top 10 songs of all time, I have to admit, is actually a Taylor Swift song.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just love the musical cadence to style. It's not like the lyrics or anything. It's more of the actual like beat and how the song flows.
Now, see, with
The lyrical, like the lyrics and the way she like sings it and everything, yes, that adds like that chef's kiss, if you will, to it. But that is definitely probably more on the bottom end of the top 10, but it's definitely in the top 10 for sure.
Now, see, with me, it's kind of the opposite because I get the whole need for catch in her kind of songs because her style is more designed for that catch. But if you look at her lyrical history, at least from my perspective, she started out with way too much of a repetitive base. I mean, there's only so many ways that you can tell the exact same story with different people. Has she branched away from that? Somewhat. But I mean, hell, give me someone with a little bit of intrigue like the Police or Steely Dan or Hall and Oates or even some others. Why are you looking at me like you did not expect that sort of a turn?
Because I honestly didn't. I'm expecting you to say like Jimi Hendrix all along the Watchtower next.
Oh yeah, that's definitely way up there, but for something like that, the lyrics do come secondary to how he is with the guitar. I'm not going to necessarily say the various scenarios that have been imagined that I would entirely want to replicate while playing that song, but it's a very, very wide spectrum. You seem stunned all of a sudden.
I am a little stunned. This is probably another one of those topics we're going to have to dive a little bit deeper in on point of view.
Yeah, that might be saved because we got a long ass show prepared already.
Well, put it down, damn it. Now, speaking of Riot music, that actually takes me into we got a whole ass segment on Riot music, and when the hell do we ever have a whole ass segment on Riot music? So there you go. Lil Nas X was apparently actually considered for being in Arcane. In that same interview with Riot Games Music, Bob DiBellina, you know what? You know who that? You know what that name reminds me of? Just the way that the name sounds.
Christopher Walken's character in that SNL bit?
No.
Okay.
Remember the guy that created and produced the original America's Funniest Home Videos, Vid DeBona?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me Bob DiBellina is not a Vid DeBona kind of name.
It really is. It is. I'll give you that one.
But apparently, in that same interview, he says Lil Nas X was absolutely considered for Arcane. But apparently, the musician was not involved because of time and creative constraints of the team that had to spend most of their time reverse engineering songs into the picture.
Huh.
So apparently, Star Walking happened because they couldn't get Lil Nas X in Arcane. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, this is a little bit peculiar.
Because while Star Walking itself is a banger, don't get me wrong. We've talked about this already.
We did. We have.
It doesn't really seem to fit in well to Worlds.
You know,
Because they keep using that same that same bridge, right?
yeah. I had a friend who was talking about this.
Sorry, that's the wrong button.
She said,
No, keep talking. We got volume controls for a reason.
she said that exact same thing. You put it in a vacuum, it's an undisputed banger. But you put it in the context of Worlds and League of Legends,
That's kind of a flop.
yeah,
It
not
kind of
so
hits
much.
flop era.
Yeah.
But they use this same bridge, and this is about the only thing they've really been using out of Star Walking on broadcast.
Exactly. And I mean, I get that with some of the lyrics, the first verse or two, you had to edit because, you know.
Yeah, they did. I didn't even find out it was censored until like a week ago. Apparently, they had to replace a couple of uses of the Dave Chappelle word.
One and something else. I literally, the first time I heard it, I knew that it was censored. Immediately.
I had a strong inclination, but I couldn't pick out the censorship.
Oh no, I knew exactly where it was.
Because it's Lil Nas X, and I wouldn't be surprised, or I was kind of surprised that he had a fully censored, clean track. But then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, no, this can't be right because they'll let that fly on the radio. So there's probably an uncensored version out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Oh, I've already heard it, but I don't think it changes the song that much, to be honest with you. But
just 2 words. That's it.
I mean, you compare the use of Star Walkin', which is the world's anthem, in the world's broadcast this year. You take that and compare it to Pivris's Burn It All Down from last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used so much more out of Burn It All Down on broadcast last year than they have out of Star Walkin' this year.
Mm-hmm.
Out of Star Walkin', it's that same third bridge. That's pretty much all we've heard. Maybe if we get lucky, we get a little bit of that trailing outro, but pretty much all we've gotten is the third bridge over and over
even with the video, all they used was a fantastic video to boot, All they use
is the image of Lil Nas X characterized holding the world's flag behind him. Yeah.
It makes sense now with the story, but
it like I said, if you look at the use of Pivris last year and all of the different hooks and parts of the song that they were able to incorporate into broadcast elements, and the fact that they didn't even really heavily lean on the world's orchestral theme for 21 last year, except for like daily intros, and I think they were using it on end of day broadcast outro, but really that was it. Like last year, you go to analyst desk after a game, burn it all down. Like you were hearing Pivris fucking anywhere and everywhere they could cram it in. Yes, phrasing. Sue me. This year, I think they've used they've used this theme. They've used this more than they've used the actual "Burn It All Down," which is really saying something.
Yeah, it's like
this was last year's theme, and you wouldn't have even known it because they barely fucking used it. But you could also hear the signature theme to Riot LL Esports.
And why? Okay, this... I'm going to use a word, especially with the isolated piano notes. It sounds creepy, but not creepy in like a scary way. It's like creepy, cool, you know some shit's about to go down, almost like you're in parts of a horror movie kind of way. And I like that.
I can see that. I can see that explanation.
Yeah, they really could have used this more often last year.
Yeah, no, they went heavy on the burn it all down. But speaking of burning it all down, last year's anthem may not have supposed to have been Burn It All Down. According to a report from Esports, a British artist named Simon Rosenfeld claims he composed a song called Heroes that was supposed to be the world's 2021 anthem, and he believes it's a banger. And they quote PC Games End's Lauren Bergen, who spoke to Rosenfeld himself. The song Heroes was shelved so that industry titans Pivris could compose the hit Burn It All Down. Although Rosenfeld did sign a contract with Riot, they did not, in fact, set an exact date and time to release Heroes. Believing that the song would be deferred indefinitely, Rosenfeld has decided to take matters into his own hands and release the song. When Rosenfeld tried to release the song for the first time, he received a request to take down the song from SoundCloud, together with an email that it was a copy of the Riot-owned song Heroes. Quote, "It looks like your track Heroes featuring Mila by BLMD might contain or be a copy of Heroes featuring Mila by BLMD. BLMD, which is owned by WLTD Entertainment under exclusive license to Riot Games in certain territories, the email read. Rosenfeld, who couldn't give up so easily and believes the song is a banger, re-released the song via a separate artist profile to avoid potentially arising issues. According to the artist, the song is up and ready on different platforms, and they still haven't had any issues with Riot. Well, guess what?
Not anymore.
Riot responded. In an official statement given to .esports, Riot Games denied having any contact with the artist. We love community creations and fan tributes and wish him the best of luck, but Riot Games Music has never had any contact with Rosenfeld, the Riot spokesperson has told .esports.
Okay. Should I be confused? Because I feel confused.
Yeah, I feel confused too. Because apparently he went and released the song on YouTube, on BLMD's YouTube page, or at least possibly a new account for BLMD, but either way. We have the YouTube video. Do we want to say fuck it and listen to it?
I say yes.
All right, so we shall pull it up here.
Step out of the dark. Leave your fears behind. Get into the light. Take over the crown. Now is the time.
Now I'll tell you if this is going to be, if this was supposed to be a Riot song.
You'll be waiting your
because every world song, right, always has lyrics that pertain to worlds. Even Star Walking has them. They're not as explicit as they have been in previous Worlds tracks, but they're there.
Okay, pause. I'm sorry. That bass drop in this part of the chorus is way too weak for me.
I'm not vibing with this so far, and I'm not hearing that signature Riot sound either.
Even without the signature sound, I'm like, no. I would have shredded this apart if this was the official anthem. Granted, it's only 56 seconds.
It's missing that official Riot polish, that Riot sound.
And it's just 56 seconds. There's a good bit of song to go, but to me, Riot made the right choice.
If this guy had made this in collaboration with Riot, it certainly doesn't sound like it. And knowing how Riot music is, and knowing like their, I don't want to say sound signature, but for lack of a better term, sound signature, this does not scream a World's anthem at all. The lyrics aren't there. The general tempo of it isn't there. Now, I know they're using, this might even be the Pivris video. I don't remember for sure. But just listening to the song by itself, definitely so far, it's too mellow. And it's mellow in that, like, I'm EDM, but I'm not EDM. I'm techno, but I'm not techno. I'm pop, but I'm not pop.
I know exactly what this is. This is lo-fi with lyrics that wants to be 8D but forgot to add the bass.
I can kind of see that, yeah. Let's finish playing it.
We fight and we survive. We are heroes, you and I. We got flames up in our hearts. You are the hero. You're the legends that never die. We are heroes. You're hearing a cry, cheering for light, a burning desire. I'll show you the one who can conquer the heads. Now take over the crown now. Gotta face your enemies, get ready. We're all out. You've been fighting your whole life, so hard on time. You've been waiting for a chance, now's your time. They try to bring us down, but we still stand.
This is definitely the video from Pivot
Show
last
them
year.
what
It
means to be heroes.
No.
So I'm
That
not even gonna finish it from here, to be honest with you.
That
There is-
backbeat was way too piercing. You had way too much processing to where it audibly fucked up the sounds and you couldn't tell some of the lyrics. I am sorry. Ryan made the right choice.
I don't even think this was a choice. I think this is a guy that's trying to get some quick. Yeah, this is a stunt. That's what I think this is. I think this is a stunt.
Well, you know what I say to that? Stunt?
Because I'm going to tell you two things right now that I noticed, right? Not even finishing the rest of the song. The esports world's tournament lyric style, like the veiledness to a world's competition and competition in general, you kind of got a hint at that in the second verse.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't fully developed. 2, Riot will not, even with Star Walking, right? Sure, they've only got the one fucking bridge that they're using. But every world's anthem has a signature, standalone, defining bridge, chorus, something in that song that defines it as the song and can be used as a signature anchor point.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard 2 bridges, 2 choruses, 2 verses now. I haven't heard that out of this song yet.
So you know what I say to this guy?
Yes!
I agree. 100% agree.
Mm-mm. Fuck
That-
out of here. No.
That is a fucking stunt.
And even for a stunt, it's a weak. I'm sorry, it's a weak ass song to begin with.
Like,
You're better off making something with fucking Fruity Loops.
that's something I could see working in Arcane, maybe? Or like as an LCS theme? Like, hell, LCK used Nero
Okay.
one season. Right?
I get what you're saying. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not.
I want to see if I can... Yeah. LCK, I don't remember how many fucking years ago now. It's been a while. But they used Nero's The Thrill. And I mean, Nero's a pretty big artist. Complete with the music video and everything, by the way. I want to say it was LCK. I'm going to cut that volume. LCK Spring? I'm pretty sure this was a spring split.
It's impossible to see.
I I'm wondering if there's still any top comments. Yeah, so 4 years ago, LCK. But let's look at Burn It All Down, right?
Because, I mean, for something like that, I would have to get more into the song, but I could potentially see LCK using that.
It's Korea and it's an American
Yeah.
techno pop. Like, enough needs to be said.
Exactly.
But listen to the build-up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's your signature hook of the song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could sit here and go through all 7 fucking Worlds themes and point out all the hooks from each one.
And I'm gonna tell you this right now for Burn It All Down. Not only did that fit perfectly in League of Legends, close your eyes. Cutter. A month from now, teams are walking out onto the field. You're getting the introductions. They're playing all of this. Can you not hear this song? And right when you're getting to the beginning of the hook, you have a big action moment from a game, like a free kick right as the foot strikes the ball or something like that.
Yeah.
And the dragon thing would work perfectly because of Wales. Check change 100. Am I wrong?
No.
Thank you.
I'm not something enough for you to be right, you some bitch.
Because I have had that in my head, and I've listened to that. I've added that on my Spotify, and I can think of multiple traditional sporting events where that song can work.
Now, I want to move on because we do have another show to cover tonight, and that one's going to be long. Because, we have a lot to talk about.
Not that severe.
But Auto Omni has... I mean, they had a short run. Rogue lost to JD Gaming and quarters, but we don't talk about that here. He shared a tweet. He tweeted out on Halloween. Yeah, he big salty, but he posted a tweet, and we will get the tweet on the screen here. Because, of course, this is the Check the Tweets segment and the emails and the YouTube. Because I don't know why, but somehow we added YouTube.
And also the YouTube.
But I kind of have to agree with the sentiment being made here.
I hate myself having just done that.
And the YouTube. There, you happy now?
No, I did that even better. The fact that never mind. Continue. I'm not going down that road again.
At least you caught yourself this time, because normally I just let you start digging the hole and you're about 15 feet deep or, 18 feet deep before you realize how deep in you are, and I have to throw you the lifeline rope to get out.
Sometimes being in deep is a good thing. Sometimes I like it that way.
Until the rope goes where you don't want it to.
Thankfully, I haven't had that happen yet, but...
Two of us could play the phrasing game, sir. But the tweet Honestly, we really need more international tournaments outside of MSI, which is cringe. Kind of don't disagree. And Worlds, which it bangs. 100% agree. Everyone feels so alive and excited this time of year, even when we get Goomba stomped by. The boys are having a great time. Enough of this one good turdy a year shit. I kind of have to agree here. Riot, I don't feel. Yeah, okay. In the past couple of years, they've started getting these Worlds themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Worlds themes, these MSI themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we had. I'm gonna go to YouTube because I don't remember if that was this year's theme or last year's theme. But we had one that was really good. Yeah. So last year's MSI theme starts right here. Kenny Mason and Foreign Air. That was a fucking banger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't like this year's Set It Off, to be honest with you.
It was
DPR Live, like, it was good. It meets Riot's production level for music, right? But it's not something that I want to download onto my iPhone and play over and over and over again. Or it's the first thing I'm thinking of when I think about Riot music or LOL esports music, right? But Starts right here was actually pretty fucking good. I'm gonna flip over to that for a second, actually, because we have it available. You know, normally because producer does producer things. We'll just have it in the background there, but I have to agree with Auto Omni here.
Mm-hmm.
Riot puts, I don't know if I want to say a quarter, but somewhere between, split the difference between a quarter and a half, and don't say a third.
Well, I was going to say
because that's not what I mean by that.
No, first of all, the difference between a quarter and a half is not a third if you're splitting the difference between eighths.
All right. I like having my math done for me. Go ahead and throw it on the screen. But Riot puts like 3/8 effort of what they put into Worlds into MSI, or at least it certainly feels that way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're trying to up that a little bit, I think, with having these MSI themes and the MSI themes now. But I agree with Auto Omni. We need more than just one full-on hype-ass tournament a year.
Now,
I remember the days of early league where people got excited for the different IEM Masters that were going on. Now, those were not, month-long drawn-out tournaments, but before Riot kind of choked out, put a chokehold on the tournament ecosphere for professional level players, there was a lot more hype overall in League esports. Especially when it came to, events where international play was a thing, or could be a thing. Look at Worlds versus MSI, right? MSI, there's no fucking way in hell you were going to get an MSI opening ceremony for finals where you got Lil Nas X or a fucking 3D virtual augmented reality Elder Dragon flying into the goddamn Staples Center, right?
Crypto.com arena, but yes.
At the time, it was the Staples Center You shut your filthy whore mouth. I am a stickler for calling arenas and venues the names that they are at the time that I am referencing them from.
Some references go to the moon and others don't. It's that easy.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Give yourself the monkey. Now, was that not good though? Because I'm sure
It was.
you heard it in the background there.
I did, and that was good.
That was a pretty good. Like that was almost World's caliber, right?
Yeah.
Like if we could get a slightly bigger indie name on that. I know that's kind of hard to say, but if you could get another big indie name on that track, that's a world's banger. But my point that I'm making here is I agree with Oto Omne in that there's MSI doesn't get a quarter of the resources, maybe a quarter if we're lucky, of what Worlds gets in execution time, planning, implementation, so on and so forth, marketing. And as a result, the tournament kind of does end up being cringe. But if you want to see, how teams are doing internationally, you kind of want to pay attention to MSI. The teams have no choice but to take the tournament seriously because it's an international tournament, and it's the only time that a lot of them get the opportunity to play international teams outside of Worlds.
Now, and this is kind of something I noticed. I don't know if it's going to catch on and be a thing, but if it does, it would be a very, very interesting proposition. We talked previously about the rumors for 2023 and maybe going forward of how LEC is going to restructure their season with what is in essence the 3 splits instead of the 2. If, say within a couple of years, the other regions, especially the major regions, catch on and do the same thing, hypothetically,
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Brain?
Well, I think so, but where are we going to find that large of a wheel of cheese?
Well played, but continue.
If other regions do that, the major regions in particular, because we all know major region bias when it comes to these tournaments.
Of course.
If they all go to 3 splits a year, instead of having the one devoted semi-long MSI, it would behoove Riot to have 2 much more rapid fire, and they can be rapid fire tournaments, but you can still put the significant resources to them after every split, keeping Worlds as it is. Because you can come up with a good international tournament that you can hype and wouldn't need to put as much resources in, allowing you to fulfill their potential if each tournament was, say, 2 weeks.
2 weeks might be a little bit short to run a tournament, but I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, again, hypotheticals, because you don't want it too long to really extend this season, but instead of having like one cringe MSI, you could have 2 more smaller form, much better run, much better executed, much more hyped international tournaments before Worlds. I think splitting the difference, if that were to come to fruition, could be something to easily capitalize on and appease a lot more of the players and the masses.
I mean, yeah, you could go that way. Or if you just want more international competition in general, right? Which I
Mm-hmm.
think, is part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Call me crazy. You're crazy. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Why doesn't Riot do a World Cup style tournament? Every team in every region in the world has a shot, regardless of your standing.
How often are you thinking of doing said World Cup style tournament?
Well, you definitely couldn't do it annually because it would take too long.
Because I'm thinking, if not quadrennially, if you could do this biennially, it could work.
But seriously, imagine. Now, we know Riot has the capability to artificially stabilize ping.
Yes.
Thank you, MSI. You're going to have to figure out something for, you can only stabilize so much ping between North America and, say, Australia or, Brazil or Korea or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But even if it's like a 2-week fucking span of, okay, here you go, all of North America's flying over to Korea to play their qualifiers against the Korean teams, or they gather everybody, like literally everybody, in some sort of centralized. Maybe you cut it off at that point. Maybe you do like kind of how the World Cup does it already, where you've got regional qualifiers.
Yeah,
and
the
then
confederational qualifiers, and then the top teams go and fly out for the final tournament.
Yeah. Maybe you kind of need to do something like that, right? Because the logistics of putting up, what is it, average of 16 teams per league, and there's 8 leagues, if I remember correctly.
That would be 128. So realistically, over 100 teams.
Let's think 10 people per team. Plus you've got a support staff of, we'll say, 20 to 25 per region. That's your casters, etc.
Right. So you're talking feasibly 1,500 people, give or take.
That's pretty sizable amount to do logistics for.
But if you're only doing it on a biennial basis.
And it's a pretty hefty penny for Riot to pay, because remember, Riot pays for accommodations for international tournaments.
Right. But I mean, if you're thinking about it from a logistics term, this is why biennially, triennially at the most. You hype that up. And the reason why I say biennial is because you could adopt it on a very, very regular cycle. That, even though there's a lot of costs, imagine the potential revenue knowing that it's a biennial tournament, and you could, at a minimum, say 6 months worth of hype? Because if you're talking about the original World Cup,
well, I mean, yeah, if you're starting the hype when you start the regional qualifiers, right?
Yes.
Like you got to be in the top 12 of domestic standings or whatever in order to fly out. Because, there's no way in hell China's going to fly all 18 teams out.
Honestly, if you really wanted, because how many regions are we realistically talking? If we're going every region.
I mean, if we're talking every region, I'm going to look it up. Leaguepedia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 regions.
Top 4. That's 48 teams.
Now, give me a second here because
The producer is producing things.
I am indeed producing things.
Why do I have a feeling after this I'm going to be either tonight or tomorrow spamming you with ideas of different tournament formats on our private staff chat?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Man, you're really... Oh, no. Don't do what I think you're going to do and start turning my wheels. I will play the clip if I have to.
What clip? What did I say?
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby! Don't you put that on us!
Because if you get my brain going, gotta help you. You know how I'm like. You know what I'm like. Don't.
I said 12, right?
Yes.
Okay, so technically 12, technically 11. One of those is the LCL, the League of Legends Continental League, which is the Commonwealth of Independent States, aka Russia League, which has been disbanded until further notice.
So if they were reintroduced, well, hell. I'd keep it a top 4 anyways. So you'd either have a 44 or a 48 team tournament.
That's what all the producer face was trying to confirm if that 12 included the LCL or not, which it did. But we could save that for our post-world show. I'm hoping Riot restructures Worlds next year and that they're, out of their contracts or plan ahead period or whatever plan ahead that they've already done is plan ahead on a new format. But it is time because, of course it's off season, right? We have to talk about off-season moves. Because it's not a show if we don't talk about who's reportedly going where, according to some guy on Twitter with a sheep profile picture. Okay, no offense to Wooloo, but we do get to talk about roster moves. As well, there's only 2 teams left at Worlds, and yeah. We'll be getting into that soon. I'm going to rapid fire this. The biggest news, RNG's entire roster reportedly breaking up, according to Doimby, who is LNG Esports mid laner. He's reportedly said that every RNG player except for Breathe is set to leave the org after their contracts end this year. Doimby's information is backed up by the Leaguepedia page, and you can check the global contract database as well. But their contracts do end on November 22nd. It's been a pretty successful season for RNG, even if you put the asterisk on the MSI trophy. Yeah, they got their ass curb stomped by T1 in the quarterfinals. But T1 have looked absolutely indomitable, and we'll be talking about that next on our Worlds coverage show here on Parallel Convergence across most of these not a network streaming platforms. But we will have to keep an eye on that and see how that develops. Because if RNG implodes on itself, that could be bad. Makes me think that the org might implode entirely. Because it isn't the first time that's happened. Star ADC Danny will not be playing for Evil Geniuses in 2023. According to multiple reports, Danny missed the entirety of Evil Genius's run at Worlds, citing a need to focus on mental health. Substitute AD carry K. took up the mantle. He did pretty decent, all things considered, but obviously not a performance North America should be proud of. I mean, given the fact that, Evil Geniuses did play pretty well for the play-ins, they shit the bed in groups. And that was with the sub. So, last match Danny played in on the professional stage was the summer playoffs against Team Liquid. But he has taken the rest of the year off for personal reasons. EG has not made any of its plans for ADC public. That's all we know right now. But it is very possible, especially given the stuff that I'm seeing on Twitter, that Danny might be done as a professional player. I will insert my statement here about go back to previous episodes and how League of Legends is definitely half mental resiliency, half being able to press the right buttons at the right time and knowing which order to press them in. I applaud him for standing up for his mental health and saying, no, I'm not playing. And that's where I'm leaving it until we know more information. Apparently, in more Evil Geniuses news, former Evil Geniuses coach Peter Dunn is heading back to the LEC next season as the head coach for Team Heretics, according to a report from Blix.gg. Team Heretics is going to be a new team in the LEC next season after acquiring the franchise spot previously owned by Misfits. Although the team has yet to reveal a roster, Dunn has reportedly joined as the head coach. It is very possible, given Dunn's expertise in developing a younger core of players and building teams containing younger players, that could be their strategy. for those of you who do not remember, Dunn has spent the majority of his career in the LEC. He coached for Splice/Bad Lions, taking 2 separate cores of teams to Worlds. In 2020, he was the coach behind the Mad Lions lineup that had Carzy and Humanoid. Mad Lions has had a lot of success based on the core players that Dunn and his coaching staff initially recruited and built up. So, yeah, there's that. Golden Guardians also making some changes, although these are confirmed. We got a tweet out of Golden Guardians back on the 26th. Golden Guardians has kind of shook things up a little bit themselves. They have done some internal promoting and gotten a couple of league veterans to help as well. Their new head coach is going to be Spooks. Their assistant coach is Choo Choo's. Their academy coach is Swiper. And their player coach is Hustlin' Beast. So we will see how that ends up for them. I know we talked about Peter Dunn going to EU. Evil Geniuses, also on the 26th, actually released a good handful of their coaching staff. They released Rigby, Turtle, Artemis, and ZZ Legendary. So I think Evil Geniuses are pretty much looking to completely rebuild their coaching core. They don't really have the opportunity to rebuild their roster. The only player whose contract is set to outright expire is Impact. It's possible that they find a new top laner, but they're definitely not going to be doing major reshuffles on the roster. So with the performance they had at Worlds, I'm not surprised that reshuffling at the coaching staff is happening there. The next bit of news I am considering it a rumor. We will cover it because of the fact that it was reported by Wooloo, which has been known to make accurate predictions, if you will, in the past, or have accurate leaks. But according to him, Doublelift is considering a return to professional play. Now, what I will say to this story right here at the stop, I don't consider this verifiable news unless I hear it from Doublelift or I hear it from Travis Gafford. For those of you who have been around League Esports long enough, you know that Travis Gafford is like a dad to that kid. They have a very, very special relationship, and bond. And if Doublelift were coming out of retirement, having been in retirement for 2-3 seasons now, something like that.
Thereabouts.
2020. So it would be 3 seasons, or it would be 3 years. If he is coming out of retirement, that is an exclusive that he is going to give Travis Gafford. 100%. So I say it with a bit of reservation and I take it with a grain of salt. kind of situation here, even more so than some of these other reports and rumors that we're hearing. As always, nothing is official until it's in the Riot Games global contract database. Plain and simple. Riot has the ability to veto shit. Rumors may not happen, contracts, salaries, etc. may not happen. Things happen, and even though both parties are like, yeah, we're making this happen, this is going to be a thing, the contract phase may break down and go up in a ball of flames and nobody says anything. And it kind of just sweeps under the radar and everybody forgets that it happened. But that's why I say nothing's official until it's in the global contract database and the teams say this is official with Riot approval. If Doublelift comes back, I think it's huge. I think his work ethic and understanding of the game and his play style of the game is sorely what is needed in North America. I don't think Doublelift's doing it for the money. He's making a good amount streaming. His girlfriend is, or at least was, the head of TSM. Like, she was a vice president or something or other. Like, she was a 3-letter executive for TSM, and was making a pretty penny there. Like, Doublelift ain't doing it for the money. Doublelift's doing it because he's got that itch to compete again. I don't think Doublelift's got a lot of options, though, if he wants to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know Evil Geniuses are in the market for an AD carry because of the Danny situation. I believe 100 Thieves might be looking, if I remember correctly, FBI's contract comes up this year as well. FBI performed pretty well this year. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I believe FBI was one of the best domestic AD carries in the league this year. But I would not be surprised if Doublelift does end up on one of those two teams. I doubt he goes back to Team Liquid. Not because he wouldn't fit in there, but with Liquid saying they don't want super teams, and Doublelift would definitely be considered a super team roster move. I doubt he's going there. Definitely, you will never see Doublelift play for TSM ever again. Not after all the bad blood between him and Reginald on Twitter and just in general over the past 2 years since he left TSM. That'll probably never happen again ever, at least not while Reginald is still the owner of TSM, and probably even afterward. I doubt Cloud9 is going to want to try to pick him up because Berserker has done pretty well overall. Yeah, he's a rookie, but Cloud9 is, Berserker's been a gem of a rookie. So those are two teams where it's, definitely not going to happen. I think squarely it's probably going to be Evil Geniuses or 100 Thieves I'd put the money on Evil Geniuses if a deal can happen and if this is actually serious. Because the other thing is Doublelift has always said that he doesn't want to play for a team that can't contend at the highest levels.
Mm-hmm.
And Evil Geniuses and 100 Thieves fit that bill for him. He wouldn't be going to a mediocre team that he would have to carry off the back of his shoulders, which is why pretty much the rest of the league is out of reach to him. He's looking to join a team because, this is based on how he's been in the past. If he's going to join a team, he is going to look to join a team that is a domestic powerhouse and has gone to Worlds. Plain and simple. So, like I said, that puts Evil Geniuses and 100 Thieves in the ballpark for sure. They've got the possible availability. I mean, Evil Geniuses definitely has the availability. I could see that happening. I would be shocked. Actually shocked if it does, though. It would probably be the power move of the offseason. And I would feel bad for Danny because it's kind of a slap in the face a little bit too, if we're being honest. It's like, okay, you want to quit? Fine, we're going to sign arguably the best North American ADC to ever play the game coming out of retirement instead.
Normally you would say, oh, well, that's the cost of doing business and all this and that, but that would be flat out harsh.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. This is self-imposed, but it's self-imposed by Danny, right? I think it's self-imposed for the right reasons. Don't get me wrong, but still self-imposed. But that is all the news that's fit to print or talk about or just generally cover that isn't Worlds related. And even then we got into some minor Worlds crossover topics there. We are going to take a quick 15-30 minute break here while I throw some dinner in the oven and have a quick bite to eat. And we will be back over most of these Not a network affiliate stations at approximately, what do you want to say, 10:45, Eric? I mean, Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, 10:45 works, especially since we got the first one out of the way.
And we'll be back for our part 2 episode. Yes, we stole DWSR's gimmick. Sue me, Harry Broadhurst. My name's Blue for a reason, you some bitch. It's Eric's network, and I'll do whatever the hell I want on it. Yes, you heard me correctly.
Okay.
But we'll be back over most of these stations at about 10:45. After we get some dinner and prepare, and we will be talking about Worlds, and everything Worlds, including who to bet on for the finals. And check's prediction sheet here. Seeing as I have a 100% accuracy rating in the knockout stage so far, and by Riot Pick'ems, I am in the top 5% globally on Pick'ems. How that's probably a good idea to take my hashtag not betting advice.
Needless to say, I'm going to look at some things. There might be some funds allocated and some stuff made. That's all I'm going to say about that.
But we will be back at 10:45 for the Parallel Convergence Worlds Finals Edition episode. And as usual, because we have to say it, hashtag bet on Bovada 21 means 21. God damn it. Thank you, JTM. but we'll be back in about 40 minutes. I am Andesian at the Andesian on Twitter. You can find Dr. Manhattan, my co-host with the lovely dulcet tones, on Twitter as well at Squid Sportshead. This has been Parallel Convergence, a presentation of the Data Network podcast network, available on all major streaming platforms. Thank you for watching and listening, and stay tuned for more Parallel Convergence Worlds Edition at 10:45 Eastern Time here on the Data Network. Thank you and good night.